That means, George, that means you walk your man. It's also now in session.
Revert to government notices.
Member for the City of Bridgetown.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to give notice of a resolution to grant the sum of $21,711,476 from the Consolidated Fund and to place it at the disposal of the government to supplement the estimates 2019 to 2020 as shown in supplementary estimates number 9 of 2019 to 2020.
That's your wish.
Revert. Then indicate that we beg to withdraw orders. Okay? Order number.
Order number 10, as it currently stands, comprises 3 supplementaries which have now been subsumed, in the supplementary to which I have just given notice. And as a result of that, I beg to move the withdrawal of order number 10.
Order number 10. Seconded? The question is that order number 10 be withdrawn. All members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Order number 10 is withdrawn.
In the name of the Honourable Acting Leader of the House, to move that the House resolve itself into Standing Finance Committee to consider the grant of sums of money for the service of this item.
Honourable Member for the City of Bridgetown.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the House resolve itself into Standing Finance Committee to consider the grant of sums of money for the service of this island.
Question is that this House be resolve itself into the Standing Finance Committee. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. This House has now resolved itself. Finance Committee.
Ten with the 3.
The House is in Standing Finance Committee.
In the name of the Honourable Acting Leader of the House, of the passing of a resolution to grant the sum of $21,711,476 from the Consolidated Fund and to place it at the disposal of the government to supplement the estimates to 2019 to 2020 as shown in the supplementary estimates number 9, 2019 to 2020, which form the schedule to the resolution. Mr. Chairman, just before we start, the intention, now that we're in committee, is to do orders number 14, orders number 6, and orders number 7 in seriatim.
14, 6, and 7.
Order 6 and 7, but we're starting with 14.
14, okay.
Head 10, Governor General, in the amount of $50,000.
Honourable Member Christensen.
Chair, the request before the chamber is to support the operations with respect to the transportation services required for the Governor General. And as you are aware, sir, the issues related to transportation, sir, certainly in the context of the maintenance of vehicles and the replacement of vehicles with respect to the Governor General has been of some concern for some time, and therefore the request before the chamber today is to be able to support the changing of the vehicles that the Governor General uses with respect to her transportation. And so this sum of money will assist with respect to being able to replace the vehicles and put the transportation service on a different footing. Thank you. I beg to move that head 10 stand part.
Question is that head 10 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 13, Prime Minister's Office, in the amount of $3,247,319.
Pedro. Clerk. Clerk.
Sorry. Pedro? Pedro?
Honourable member.
Yes, sir. The sum of $3,247,319 is to support the ongoing operations of the Barbados Defence Force. As you're aware, sir, the fleet of ships that the sailors use with respect to their services, provision of security services for the country, require constant maintenance, and therefore these sums of money being asked is to support the ongoing servicing of the fleet with respect to the Barbados Defence Force. And so therefore the request being made is to ensure that Barbados' security is obviously supported through ensuring that the fleet of ships as well as the smaller vessels are regularly maintained such that we can provide the necessary support to enhance the national security interests of the country. And so with that, sir, I beg to move that head 13 stand part.
All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 27, Ministry of Tourism and National Transport, in the amount of $420,724.
Honourable member St. James Central.
Mr. Chairman, the requests are really falling under three different programs. The first program, with respect to policy formulation, Mr. Chairman, relates to the fact that at the time of the preparation of estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2019 to 20, no allowances, specifically travel or entertainment, telephone, etc., were approved by Cabinet for the consultant functioning in the ministry in the capacity as Director of Tourism Development. So that sum of $3,696 is so as to correct that oversight. The second program, Mr. Chairman, is within the realm of international transport, and that is program 333. And then programs 335, air transport infrastructure. And that relates, Mr. Chairman, to the question of air traffic management services. In a nutshell, Mr. Chairman, the airport has to be able to comply with certain critical and compulsory areas. They are called critical elements by the International Civil Aviation Organization. There are several critical elements, but the important one for us at this stage of the discussion is the provision for adequate oversight so as to ensure that there's safety at all times at the Grantley Adams International Aerodrome. There is a requirement, therefore, sir, for that supplemental so as to make sure that we're able to have adequate satellite navigation infrastructure in place, and to comply with international standards, and obviously, sir, to avoid any undue concern about safety oversight at the airport and our ability to maintain those international standards and expectations of oversight. As I said, these are critical elements which are required of us by the International Civil Aviation Organization, and the necessary supplementary is detailed herein. I beg to move that. What's the San Pedro?
Head 27.
Sorry, Head 27 in the amount of, how much? $420,724 stamp part.
The question is that Head 27 stand par. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Just give me a minute, sir. I'm just trying to get this.
Head 34.
Head 34, sir. Ministry of Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment in the amount of $9,085,182.
Check with
You know how
Pedro.
much money is that?
So check. Chair?
Honourable member for Christchurch East Central.
Yes, sir. The sums of money relating to the requests under Head 34 relates to two main things, sir. One, the Barbados Revenue Authority, and the other is related to the Treasury Department specifically under subprogram Program 112, but subprogram 0113. Now, this subprogram, sir, speaks to the fact that as the government modernizes, the accounting system that is used currently in the same way that we would have done with respect to moving Asekuda World from a DOS platform to a cloud-based system, we are moving the Smart Stream system to be deployed onto a cloud-based system. And so therefore, the sums of money under subprogram 0113 is related to the Treasury's work that is required now to upgrade the Smart Stream system such that the accounting for government obviously then becomes a lot easier to facilitate, and therefore the intention is to be able to complete that upgrade such that come April 6th, actually, that the implementation of the cloud-based version of Smart Stream will take place, and therefore these sums of money being requested under this program will allow for that implementation to be rolled out in this instance. Under the revenue collection part, which relates to the Barbados Revenue Authority, as you can see, there are two items here. In part, sir, three items actually, three items. There's the tax administration infrastructure reform project, sir, which persons are familiar with respect to the TAMIS and the entire revenue enhancement project with respect to being able to, one, bring all of the taxpayer systems, the legacy systems that we would have inherited, to bring that to fruition. And so therefore, the supplementary here of 4.037 million is 4.037 million is to further implement the tax reform project, which is supported by CAF, and therefore, as we seek to bring this project to an end, then the intention, obviously, sir, is to ensure that the systems that and the procedures with respect to being able to finance these measures will be able to be completed under this program, under this sub-program. Sorry, the grants to public institutions under 316 under sub-program 0185, sir, relates to the fact that a number of officers have retired, sir, from the Barbados Revenue Authority, and whilst the Treasury, because as you would recall, sir, the Revenue Authority was formed by public officers moving from central government into the Revenue Authority, and therefore, whilst some of those officers who retired in the interim in the last 5 years are receiving their pensions from the Treasury, the Revenue Authority now has to top that up with respect to what is owed and due to them, and therefore the sum of money being requested here specifically relates to being able to provide for the pension, not just of those workers, but the projections with respect to workers that will expect to retire over the next year. And so therefore these sums of money are voted with respect to being able to settle that. The $865,000, sir, relate to the fact that there's an ongoing scanner project which is managed with respect to the Customs Department, but as you may recall, the previous government had intended to move customs to the BRA, and therefore the project with respect to which was Asekuda World and all the other reforms which were meant to be done for customs were managed by the Revenue Authority, and so therefore these sums of monies being requested is to purchase 2 replacement scanners, sir, which will enhance the security with respect to the customs operations at the border, and will augment obviously that which is being done on the part of the Port Authority. And so these sums of money, sir, in a sense, sir, will on the face of it aid tremendously with respect to the modernization of government, and that is on the one hand with respect to the upgrade of the accounting system across government. And as you would recall, sir, we passed the Public Finance Management Bill earlier this year, and we've committed ourselves to ensuring that the accounting systems across government are harmonized, and therefore would allow us to be able to better track and manage from a systemic perspective government's revenue and expenditure and the accounting for that going forward. And so as the Treasury rolls that out, and with respect to the Revenue Authority accelerating the completion of the TAMIS and the other revenue enhancement projects, that these sums of monies in total being requested by the Ministry of Finance of $9,085,182 will support the modernization of government and would allow us then to be able to better manage the public finances of the country, and therefore I beg to move that Head 34 stand part.
The question is that Head 34 stand part. Honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. Head 39.
Sir, the Ministry of International Business and Industry in the amount of $1,800,002.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This sum is being requested in relation to really 3 sub-programs. The first one relates to the issue again of economic substance, which I've explained somewhat exhaustively already in this chamber. But as was pointed out before, it is not enough to enact legislation, but you must also go on to put yourself in a position where you can effectively implement and monitor compliance with the requirements of the legislation. It therefore became incumbent upon us to procure the amount of filing that had to go on in terms of the substance declarations by the service providers or whoever is designated by the companies to file economic substance returns annually necessitated really that you had to move to an IT platform. It would have been too much to be conducted manually. And therefore, the ministry moved to obtain an IT platform procured and supplied by the firm BDO. And the total cost was $995,000 US eventually. And according to the billing milestones that have been submitted in the work plan, the contract, the amount that will be due and owing by the end of the financial year would be, I think, but the remaining amount due by the end of the financial year will be the sum of $1,602,888 Barbados dollars. So that sum is on the first sub-program set out in the supplementary. The second amount, totaling $167,114, relates to CAIPO. Mr. Speaker, where what happened here, Mr. Chairman, is that at the start of the year, the sum requested for salaries, particularly for the temporary employees, that had been cut back by the Ministry of Finance in the expectation that the corporate affairs would already have entered into what was then planned, or still is, a public-private partnership. So it's felt that once that came into existence, staff obviously would have been adjusted, maybe sent to other ministries or whatever. But that did not materialize, and chances are will not materialize during the course of the current financial year. So in these circumstances, funds have to be now sought and obtained to pay the staff that had been anticipated would not have fallen under our purview for the entirety of the financial year. In addition, during the course of the financial year, we had to take on 3 additional staff members, a cashier, a vault attendant, and a legal officer, to cope with an increase in workload at CAIPO. So that is what has made it now necessary to seek an additional sum of $131,413. Of course, once you employ people, you have to pay national insurance. And there's a portion here of $35,701 to cover national insurance, which represents national insurance that would have been due, but also the fact that national insurance was increased during the year as well. So hence, Mr. Chairman, you need to have both an adjustment in relation to pay the staff and also to pay the national insurance due on that. And lastly, Mr. Chairman, there's the sum of $30,000 which is being sought to procure some laptop computers, the small type, to facilitate, because now with the monitoring of substance and so on, it's necessary to visit and do on-site inspections and so on, and you have to have the necessary equipment to enter data as you are actually inspecting. Go back to the ministry and work on it further, Mr. Speaker. So in a nutshell, I know everyone is anxious to get out of here, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. So that is it, Mr. Chairman, in a comprehensive nutshell. So the total being sought by the ministry is $1,800,002 as explained, as just outlined, Mr. Chairman. I beg to move to that, Mr. Speaker, that head 39 stamp part. Huh? And $1,800,002. Beg to move that head 39 stamp part.
The question is at head 39 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 75, Ministry of Housing, Lands and Rural Development, in the amount of $209,440. $2,219,440. $209,440. $2,209,440.
Mr. Speaker,
440.
before I get to the supplementary, I think this is the last time that we will meet before Christmas, and I want to extend a hearty Merry Christmas to the constituents of St. John. The matter before the House, Mr. Speaker, is a supplementary of $2,209 to complete.
Sorry, say again, 2 million?
$2,209 for $440,000 to supplement programs at the Ministry of Housing. The $209,440, Mr. Speaker, is related to a matter of completing the survey on the housing estates owned by the National Housing Corporation. Now, for the whole day, Mr. Deputy Speaker, you would have heard member after member fixing issues left over the last 10 years. And this supplementary is one that we at the National Housing Corporation is looking to fix as well, because in order to convey those units under the 20-year program, we must conduct a survey of the property to ensure that persons are paying for exactly what they deserve. So hence that $209,440 is going in that particular direction. The $2 million, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is related to completing the septic tank and wells program that we would have started sometime in August last year. This was accelerated as a direct result of that tragic event that would have happened on July 4th. And we are moving at a pace to ensure that all of those 100 wells that we deem to be critical in those housing estates are completed sometime early next year. Now, we have identified 6 of those particular estates where the problem is more acute than in the other areas. Now, we will be, at some point in time, getting to all of the areas that we need to retrofit the septic tanks and the well to ensure that safety is had by all of our tenants on the 49 estates that are across the country. So those 6 estates, Mr. Speaker, include Pinelands, Deacons Farms, which include Rosemont and Fernyhurst, Haynesville, Watton, Silver Hill, and Gore Hill. Now, one of the things that the ministry would have done as it relates to this particular program was to hire some subcontractors to assist in terms of completing the work, particularly in the Pine area that was deemed to be a little more serious than the others. So, without any further ado, Mr. Speaker, I beg...
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 75 stand par to the sum of $2,209,444.
I presume we will get to Grisettes and Denton Road in the next phase.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. The seconder? Seconded? The question is that Head 75 in the amount of $2,209,440 do stand par. Honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those members against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 80, Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance, in the amount of $2,448,809.
Honourable member for Christchurch.
Mr. Chair,
East Central.
the sums of money being requested under this particular head relates to the operations of the Transport Authority in being able to conduct its mandate. Earlier this year, when we did the initial estimates, the Transport Authority would have been allocated a sum of monies which they quickly were able to consume, and therefore it's not the most elegant choice of words, sir, but it's late. Sorry, but the Transport Authority, as it seeks to execute its mandate in being able to bring greater order to the road and being able to properly regulate, sir, the transport system, I've requested these additional sums of money in being able to further enhance its operations from that perspective. These, along with a number of other measures which I'm sure will be further ventilated at a future date, will allow, obviously, for the public to get a greater understanding as to some of the issues that are being rolled out. As you're aware, sir, that on January 1st, for example, the breathalyzer testing will come into force with respect to the public, and so therefore bringing greater order to the road, sir, and the mandate of the Transport Authority is clearly supported by the government, working with the various stakeholders, and therefore we want to ensure that as we move forward with any reform efforts for government, that we ensure then that the entities are adequately provided for, and so therefore these sums of monies here are to support the ongoing work of the Transport Authority. And so with that, sir, I beg to move that head 80 stand part.
The question is that head 80 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 85, sir. Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment in the amount of $150,000.
Mr. Chair, sir.
The honourable member for Christchurch West Central.
Mr. Chair, before I expound certainly on this supplementary of $150,000 to Head 85 to augment the Natures from Ranch program, I would certainly like to raise my voice, as the honourable member for St. John did earlier, to wish the constituents, the good constituents of Christchurch West Central, a happy, Merry Christmas. And I wish them all the best for 2020, and I hope that they have the visual acuity to focus and getting themselves ready, as great things will come upon them. I also want to say...
Honourable members, I wouldn't want to interrupt you and in your desires to wish happy holidays to your constituents, but there's a long-standing tradition in this honourable place that the leader of a government business, on winding up the debate, and would usually record happy holidays to all of our constituents and all of Barbados, and certainly to those who help us here in the various roles. So I would ask that we allow the leader of government business to so conduct that business on our behalf, sir. Thank you. Honourable Member for Christchurch Western.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I know that the leader of government business will certainly do his part, but the good people of Christchurch West Central will want to hear the voice of the medic himself. And to continue on the supplementary, of course, Natures from Ranch, as everybody in earshot know, has been doing a tremendous job, Mr. Chair, for over 21 years as it relates to giving young persons that chance, that's once in a lifetime opportunity to have a paradigm as it relates to their lives. And we want to recognize, of course, that the program, the Natures for Ranch program, have an apex, which recognizes, of course, the acronym for attracting and attaching our young people to positive programs. The P represents a passion and a purpose, Mr. Chair. E for empowerment, recognizing, of course, that young persons must be empowered to have a tangible stake in this country, Barbados, and must be integral in its development. And in exchange, where you put down the life that you once had and come into a program, rehabilitative and recreation program, to fully develop their skills and to allow them to have that once in a lifetime opportunity. Recognizing, of course, Mr. Chair, that a mind stretch with a new experience will never ever go back to its old dimension. I want to pay homage today to Mr. Lane and all those philanthropists out there who have worked assiduously on behalf of the young people of this country to give them that opportunity and to provide a habitat and an environment that their lives can be changed and they can become productive citizens, firm craftsmen of their fate. And today, I feel special and honored to be able to say that I asked this chamber and this committee to allow Head 85 in the sum of $150,000 to Nature Farm Ranch so that they can continue in their programs as it relates to developing our young people. I ask that Head 85 stand par.
The Honourable Member for St. Michael West.
Just briefly, Mr. Chairman, to record commendation from this side of the Honourable House to Mr. Corey Lane and others who lead this cause. I think that it is highly exemplary of one who seeks to serve the community in selfless fashion, and no amount of credit, no amount of commendation could be enough to serve as a reward or recognition for persons who give themselves to this type of work. Certainly the opposition, therefore, would want to commend him and to commend his example to many more across this island, because in various ways we seek to build a nation. The one other thing I would want to say is that we continue to talk about young people at risk, and that is in part the target of this program. But, Mr. Speaker, I never miss the opportunity to say to those to whom I speak on these matters that we're not only dealing with young people at risk, especially young men, we're dealing with a nation at risk. 28%, 30% unemployment among young people in Barbados as a persisting circumstance is an explosion waiting to happen. And I would like to encourage my honourable friend from Christchurch West Central, when he thinks of these young people at risk, to in a fuller measure understand that it is the nation at risk, and that the mandate given to him as a young minister in this portfolio is a significant one. And we have to change the fortunes of young people in Barbados. When we talk about unemployment, we boast that we're down to 7% some years ago. We say, well, 12% is bearable in the circumstances. We're doing better in the last administration. We're at 10 or 11%, all these types of things. But we need to drill down to the demographics, because when we start to talk about our young people, we are not at 7 or 10 or 11 or 12%. We're at 28, 30% unemployment among young people in Barbados. And that, to me, if that persists, speaks of a nation at risk. Added to the problem of unemployment, of those high levels among young people, is almost an equally sinister circumstance of underemployment across Barbados, and again among young people. The nation, our democracy, our way of life, our developmental goals achieved over years of hard work are all at risk. Our prosperity, our reputation, our future, all at risk unless we correct these situations. So when we come here to vote $150,000 for one program, we're doing a significant thing. I commend those who lead the charge in that cause, and I commend the minister for bringing the measure.
I move, Mr. Chair, that the head 85 stand par.
The question is that head 85 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Head 82, sir. Ministry of Environment and National Beautification in the amount of $2,300,000.
Mr. Chairman, this request is to support a national project along with an integrated project in the National Beautification Program. It will support the project in the Botanical Gardens, which will cover 250 plus acres, and I'm going to take a leap as early as tomorrow onto the western parcel of that land. So I'll be moving towards another 200 acres as well. In addition to that, the project was stretched across Barbados, and that's why I say it's an integrated project between what is happening in the gardens and what is going to be happening nationwide. With the 2020 vision regathering is the intention to help develop a sense of national consciousness, not only with this program exclusively, with the other elements of the program that would be applied, and we will lead off with that as well on the 1st of January. But obviously, the required supplementary will be used for us to continue to do the work. You don't plant trees on the 1st of January in order to have trees on the 1st of January. So we have to start planting early. We're going to have to do some cleaning up of the land. There are some alien species in that, what is supposed to be friendly environment. We're going to have to remove those. And we're talking about trees that are not harmonious with what we want to do there. So we're going to be planting some fruit trees rather than some of the trees that sometimes retard the growth of others. That is part of the request. So we're going to have to cover supplies and materials, operation expenses, and in addition some professional services of additional persons, which we had to bring in professional persons as well. I will probably give you the details of the entire program at a later date, but I want to, at this moment, while making this request for this supplementary, invite all the colleagues, members of Parliament here, sir, to St. Lucie for the 1st of January 2020. We want everybody to journey to St. Lucie to help support this program. And all of us can interact there and have a good time, including the leader of the opposition. So I'm making a request for the sum of $2 million, which is just a small amount at this point. $2,300,000 in order to support this national project.
Seconded by yeah. All right. The question is that head 82 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, that completes that supplementary. We now go to order number 6. In the name of the Honourable Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Investment, to move the passing of a resolution to grant the sum of $300,505 from the Consolidated Fund and to place it at the disposal of the government to supplement the estimates 2019 to 2020 as shown in the supplementary estimates number 5, 2019 to 2020, which form the schedule to the resolution.
Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central.
Mr. Chair, the...
No, just a minute, please. Head 34, Ministry of Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment, in the amount of $300,505.
Mr. Chair, the request before the Chamber relates to, in part, the insurance colloquium that was held here in Barbados, sir, on November 5th, which preceded the hosting of the International Monetary Fund as well as the CDB's Regional Economic Outlook Conference, which was held on the 6th of November. Now, sir, we, as a government, and as you are aware, sir, the Prime Minister has been quite strident with respect to the issues related to climate change. We've seen a lot of damage through the intensity of the storms over the last few years. And therefore, Barbados sought to pull together all of the multilateral agencies, as well as the insurance companies, as well as government officials from around the region, in order to be able to mobilize, sir, the discussion as to how, as a region, we'll be able to respond to the issues related to climate change, such that the fiscal space that we have, or that we can create, to be able to build greater resilience, not just in Barbados, sir, but across the region. And that one-day colloquium, sir, was successful in the context that we advanced the cause with respect to being able to raise greater awareness amongst the multilateral institutions that climate change, and as a risk to not just life, but certainly the livelihood of the region, is something that we have to respond to from a programmatic perspective in terms of the agencies. Now, as you are aware, sir, having restructured our debt, our domestic as well as external commercial debt now includes a natural disaster clause, such that in the event that Barbados, and I knock on this wood here, sir, and I hope that it doesn't happen, but in the event that Barbados is impacted significantly by a climate event, then those clauses will give us the ability to suspend those debt payments for 2 years, which would allow us then to be able to use those monies that we would ordinarily spend on debt to help with the rebuilding process and accelerate the rebuilding process. Now, the truth is, sir, that we have to build greater resilience in Barbados. We have to build greater resilience across the region, because the ability to recover, sir, is determined by how resilient our houses, our communities, our people, sir, are with respect to being able to ensure that, one, damage is minimized, such that any recovery, sir, can take place quickly, so that, one, people can put their lives back together, two, that the economy can recover quickly, so that you can get back on your feet, sir, in a relatively short space of time. And so the discussions that took place, sir, centered around what would be some of the practical issues that we can put together in terms of funding and access to funding, the creation of fiscal space within not just Barbados, but across the region, and the utilization of mobilization, sir, of other resources with respect to being able to engage in building greater resilience in the country. As you may be aware, sir, Barbados has completed a very comprehensive national coastal risk impact assessment, which is the very data, sir, that allows for uncertainty to be minimized, simply because now information, as you would appreciate, sir, that insurance price on risk, and where there's uncertainty, the premiums go up. And therefore, being the leader in the country with respect to having this LiDAR data available to us, sir, that it is, one, contingent on us now to help our neighbors to get to that stage, because whilst we are at this stage now where we can assess critically our risk and share that information with the insurance industry, such that we can properly price risk, but two, sir, being able to plan with respect to climate events, such that we can put in the necessary risk mitigation measures, which certainly has been ongoing for some time, but we have to accelerate those reforms within that. And part of the discussion centered around that. As you are clearly aware, sir, we do a lot of business with the rest of the Caribbean, and therefore, when other countries are impacted, so we may be spared from the direct impact of storms and hurricanes passing us, but when other countries are impacted and therefore their economies are not up and running, Barbados' ability obviously to trade in those circumstances is obviously compromised, and therefore it has an indirect impact with respect to the economy of Barbados. And the converse is the same, obviously, with other countries in the region. And so therefore the building of resilience regionally is critical, and that was, for the most part, sir, a lot of where the mobilization of regional resources were centered in terms of how we were able to mobilize that. And obviously Barbados being, will take over the chairmanship of CARICOM from January, and we intend to advance these discussions with respect to that, so that we can set in motion, sir, a comprehensive plan to be able to respond in as short a space of time with respect to being able to build resilience, not just in Barbados, but building resilience across the Caribbean. And as you know, sir, we are fully committed to the integration process, and the reality is that we cannot build resilience in isolation of the rest of the region. And whilst we will take our actions, it has to be done in the context of being able to mobilize regional resources to be able to create opportunities for our citizens. So with that, sir, I beg to move that Head 34, stand part.
Second. The question is that Head 34 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Huh? Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Go to order number 7, sir. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Tourism and International Transport, to move the passing of a resolution to grant the sum of $473,561 from the Consolidated Fund, and to place it at the disposal of the government to supplement the estimates 2019 to 2020, as shown in the supplementary estimates number 6, 2019 to 2020, which form the schedule to the resolution. Head 27, Ministry of Tourism and International Transport, in the amount of $473,561.
Honourable Member St. James Central.
Mr.
Chairman,
the matter before the House is the sum of money which is required for the government of Barbados to advance what has come to be termed the National Tourism Program. You will recall that earlier today, sir, the Honourable Member for St. Michael South Central, in her capacity as Minister responsible for investment, would have laid in this House a mandatory contract which is related to the same matter. To put it in its correct context, sir, for the first time ever, the government of Barbados was assessed by the IDB in the context of our national program with them to be eligible to treat tourism as a tool for development. And in the context of that country's strategy approach, for the first time ever, we are now in a position, sir, to advance a national tourism program, which really is constituted by way of a 20 million United States dollars disbursement, which will be used for a number of purposes. The first one, sir, is the development of a visitors center and an urban tourism route through the city of Bridgetown. The second one, Mr. Chairman, is a digital marketing component where we will direct a particular portion of that money towards the development of Marketing Barbados via digital platforms and social media, etc. And the third one, sir, is a reconstitution of or refurbishment of Oistins and that aspect of the country's cultural heritage attraction. Now, Mr. Chairman, the specifics of the program really are that, or the specifics of the $473,561 are that there is a need to now employ a product specialist, a tourism product specialist, and also a finance specialist. The product specialist is the person who is going to be working with us in shaping out and refreshing that aspect of the country's tourism product that will be impacted by this program. And the finance specialist is the person, obviously, who is going to be charged with assisting in the management of the program and also the results matrix and operational plan, etc. I had mentioned earlier, Mr. Chairman, that we had today laid a mandatory contract, or that is simply a contract that amends the original contract with the IDB. It was laid in the House today, and the amendments, sir, were because of the fact that as originally contemplated, the contract was intended to have an airlift component. In other words, we were taking a certain percentage of that $20 million and putting it towards the supplementation of airlift into the island. I took the view, Mr. Chairman, that that is not necessarily the way we need to go because, as I've said repeatedly, we are looking at moving away from these minimum revenue guarantees. That MRG concept, sir, really does not allow airlines to have a stake in the game, does not allow us to extract from them a kind of role, co-equal role in marketing brand Barbados. And so we're doing away with that, and we are instead redirecting that sum of money towards the refurbishment or expanding the process of refurbishing tourism product in and around the city of Bridgetown. The second part of the amendment, sir, was basically because of the fact that there was supposed to have been the executing agency being the Barbados Tourism Investment, Inc. Obviously, sir, given the nature of the arrangements with Cabinet, the Barbados Tourism Investment, Inc., though so entitled and so styled, is really within the Ministry of Investment, as opposed to being within the Ministry of Tourism. So as to make sure that it was a seamless process in terms of managing that fund or those funds, the contract is adjusted so that the Ministry of Tourism will be responsible, sir, for that aspect of the matter. And as I said, sir, the third part of the adjustment to the contract really was to allow us to place a greater degree of emphasis on cultural heritage tourism product and therefore be able to do those things that we need to do in order to make sure that Bridgetown and its surrounding environs reflect the UNESCO World Heritage Site that it now has by way purely of accreditation. As honourable members would be aware, that urban corridor, which will become a visitors corridor, which we will be channeling visitors through, will begin at St. Mary's or in the area of St. Mary's Church. We will then go through James Street, the area of where the Corey Street, where the old courts are, across from the Jewish synagogue, etc. Taking in also Roebuck Street, St. Mary's, St. Michael's Row, Queen's Park. Ideally, Mr. Chairman, sir, what we are trying to do is to capture a lot of the ancient aspects of the city of Bridgetown, capturing also its, obviously, the Parliament of Barbados, the Museum of Parliament, the churches, the synagogue, etc., in order, sir, to make sure that there is a holistic experience of the built environment of Bridgetown in its history, in its historical context as possible. In its historical context as possible. No, Mr. Chairman, sir, the old Bel Air is not part of the site of the urban route, nor will it take us through Nelson Street, sir. With regard to the things that need to be done, sir, these are all part of the preliminaries in order to operationalize access to the funds. So because the IDB tends to be very meticulous and one may even say bureaucratic in the approach, we have to make sure that there are certain things that are done, boxes that are ticked off, so that as to satisfy them of the fullest possible transparency, the best possible approach to the management of the funds, and obviously the procurement of the finance and the product specialists are part of that. We have already put in place, Mr. Chairman, 3 other officers who were also part of the conditions precedent, and they were the project coordinator, the procurement specialist. They are in place, Mr. Chairman. There's also a need, or well, there was up until today, a need to lay that amended contract in the Parliament of Barbados. That having been done, we now just have to take it to the Solicitor General so that she can certify that all the things that needed to be done have in fact been done, and then that allows the IDB to be satisfied that we can proceed towards doing the things that we need to do in order to begin the process of transforming all the things that have been done in preparation and on paper in terms of the preliminaries now to seeing a lived reality, and the people of the city of Bridgetown begin to start to see the transformation, which will begin during the course of next year. I beg to move that head 27 in the sum, sir, of $473,561 stand part.
The question is that head 27, stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. Twenty-seven. Honourable member for the city.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that you do now report to His Honour the Deputy Speaker the passing of 3 money resolutions in Standing Finance Committee.
The question is that I do now report to His Honour the Deputy Speaker the passing of 3 money resolutions in the Standing Finance Committee. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
That's topping. No, that's probably topping. Bit. Yeah.
The chairman has reported the passing of resolutions in committee.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that these resolutions be read a first time.
Question is that this resolution be read a first time. Members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg that these resolutions be read a second time.
The question is that this resolution be read a second time. All those members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that these resolutions be now agreed to.
The question is that these resolutions be now agreed to. All members in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. This resolution is now passed. These resolutions are now passed.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, revert to government notices.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to give notice of the Companies Economic Substance Amendment Bill 2019.
Second.
Revert to first reading of bills.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the Companies Economic Substance Amendment Bill 2019 be read the first time.
Question is that this resolution be read the first time.
Bill.
The bill be read the first time. All members in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Revert to government business, sir. In order number 15, in the name of the Honourable Minister of International Business and Industry, to move the second reading of the Companies Economic Substance Amendment Bill 2018.
Member for St. Michael North.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, this is a relatively simple amendment and relates really to just a piece of information or detail, if you wish, that was, I could almost say, inadvertently left off when we dealt with this matter a few weeks ago. This matter relates to as you might recall, Mr. Speaker, when I went into great detail in my presentation before, in a short while, companies will be required to file annually declarations of substance indicating compliance with the economic substance legislation. And where there is a certain category called high-risk intellectual property companies, as defined in the legislation, it is presumed that they are not compliant unless they produce evidence that they are. And at Section 9, subsection 4, reference is made to what happens when the Director of International Business finds that a resident company, a Barbadian resident company, is not compliant. He is required on those occasions to inform the competent authority in Barbados, which is the Barbados Revenue Authority, which then exchanges that information with the jurisdiction where the company gives that information to the foreign competent authority of the country in which a holding company or the ultimate holding company of the resident company and the ultimate beneficial owner of the resident company is resident. Now, where the company is, that high-risk intellectual property company is incorporated outside of Barbados, that same requirement is to apply. But as it was worded here at 9 subsection 4b, it simply said that the director had a duty to forward the information to the foreign competent authority of the country or territory in which the company was resident, without saying, as has been said in the previous paragraph A, where the holding company, the ultimate holding company of the company or the ultimate beneficial owner of the company was resident. So this is, all this is seeking to do today, sir, is to have subsection, subparagraph B of section 9, subsection 4B, to mirror really largely the provisions of section 9, subsection 4, paragraph A. And there are other minor amendments in relation to the title of section 7 and the renumbering of various subsections and so on as included in certain subsections, really technical matters. But that is the gravamen of the amendment sought today, Mr. Speaker. And with those few words, I beg to move that this bill be read a second time.
Beg a second. Question is that this bill be read a second time. All those members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that Your Honor do not leave the chair, and this Honourable House resolve itself into committee for further consideration of this bill.
The question is that I do not leave the chair, and this House resolve itself in committee for further consideration of this bill. All members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
The House is in committee.
Clause 1.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that clause 1 stand part.
The question is that clause 1 stand part. All honourable members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that clause 2 stand part.
The question is that clause 2 stand part. All honourable members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that clause 3 stand part.
The question is that clause 3 stand part. All honourable members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Report.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that you do not report to his Honour the Speaker.
The Deputy Speaker. To his Honour the Deputy Speaker.
To his Honour the Deputy Speaker, the passment of 1 bill in committee.
The question is that I do not report to His Honour the Deputy Speaker the passing of 1 bill in committee. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
The chairman has reported to me the passing of 1 bill in committee.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a third time.
The question is that this bill be read a third time. All members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill do not pass and be cited as the Companies Economic Substance Amendment Act 2019.
The question is that this bill be now passed and be cited and be so cited. All members in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. This bill is now passed and so cited.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, that brings us to the end of government business for today, and also the final sitting for the year 2019. Throughout this year, we would have sat on several occasions, some of them late into the night, and I believe we would have been able to achieve a lot as a Parliament. But that could not have happened, Mr. Deputy Speaker, without the high-quality service that has been provided by the Clerk of Parliament and his staff, both permanent as well as temporary staff. And so it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Leader of Government Business, the Honourable Member for St. Michael South East, and all members on this side, to first of all wish the Clerk of Parliament and the staff of Parliament, and also the Honourable Leader of the Opposition and his family, and all of our constituents and the people of Barbados, a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2020.
And Mr. Deputy Speaker, may I associate the voices of those of us on this side with that of the Honourable Leader of Government Business in expressing similar sentiments and gratitude. Sir, I would want to wish you and yours well for the holidays. And to the rest of my colleagues in this chamber on the other side, certainly blessings for the holidays to them and their family as well. And I join with the Honourable Member from the city to express gratitude to the clerk and the other staff of Parliament, the marshals, beyond them, the ancillary staff, those who look after the communication system, etc. Certainly, it takes an effort on the part of everybody to make these sessions meaningful and to ensure that they carry to the Barbadian public. Before I sit, I would want to wish the whole of Barbados blessings and prosperity, a sense of peace for the holidays, particularly so to the constituents of the communities of St. Michael West.
Have any other members? Before we adjourn, I too would want to wish the clerk at the table to wish all members a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, on behalf of the Speaker, and of course, the Honourable Member for St. Philip North, who is not with us today. We'd like to wish her all the best. I'd like to wish those persons who are not here, the constituents from across Barbados, especially the constituents of St. George North, and to really encourage us to come back fresh in the new year to continue the business that we have started. So on behalf of this House, on behalf of the Speaker, who's not here today, we want to wish you all the best, members. Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the House be adjourned until Tuesday, the 14th of January at 10 a.m. in the forenoon.
The question is that this House be adjourned until January the 14th, 2021. 2020.
2020.
2020.
2020. Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Remember, members, the 14th of January 2020. I had a topping moment at this time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. This House is now adjourned until then.